Chapter 74. Little Encounters and Information Gathering under Sun. Just as I had made good progress with my sewing, I realized that I had run out of a particular color of thread I needed, so I decided to use the opportunity to take a break. I can't believe that I, of all people, miscalculated how much thread it would take to finish the project. I guess I may have gotten a little too excited, as it had been quite some time since I had taken on such a big job. The peddler should be arriving in Shiki 3 days from now, so I suppose I have some free time on my hands. For the past few days, Lady Violet has taken on a part of my duties, and even Gray has been taking his work or playing with his friends outside the house so as to not disturb me. Personally, I didn't really mind if he stayed, but in appreciation of their thoughtfulness, I suppose we can all return to our usual routine for some time. Oh, it's night already. I looked out the window to see the moon shining beautifully in the sky, reminding me of the time of the day. After dinner, I made some small talk as I continued to work on my sewing, and returned to my room to work on it some more. Judging from how much work I've gotten done, I must have sewed through the whole night. I figured I should get some fresh air before getting some shut-eye. So I grabbed the first coat I could reach and made my way out. I tiptoed across the hallway so as to not disturb the two who were sleeping and opened the front door. As we were still enjoying winter, I was greeted by a breeze that was pleasant if cold. With nary a soul around, the absolute stillness in the air was comforting beaut. I gotta say, it's pretty nice to bathe in moonlight like this once in a while. What the hell is that pervert up to? A small distance away, illuminated by a ray of moonlight shining through a thicket of trees, was Miss Schwartz striking a pose. Her clothes partly in disarray, she stood praising her own beauty, which was truly bizarre. But since she was indeed quite beautiful, it didn't look so odd for her to be in awe of her own beauty, and that made me rather annoyed. I felt both the desire to keep watching and the responsibility to admonish and warn her against her deviance. I can only imagine this situation leading to an outcome of rumors being spread about me having a tryst with a half-naked woman in the dead of the night. Knowing Miss Schwartz's personality, Lady Violet may understand if I explained the situation to her, but the townspeople who don't know the backstory would easily believe any rumor. Miss Schwartz is capable of showing discretion at the oddest of times, so unless she's still up to her shenanigans by the time I make it back to the mansion or rids herself of her clothes in a public area, I guess I can leave her be. Wait. It would put me in an awkward situation if she's found doing that near the mansion. I ignored her for now and waltzed around Shiki. I recalled that she may be acting weird at the moment, but there was an instance in the game when she got apprehended for an assassination attempt on His Highness. As for the client, it was conveniently the radicals who had schemed to place the fourth prince on the throne, and the result was the apprehension of Miss Schwartz. While the person in question had no qualms with the result, I wonder if praising her beauty out there like she is now is what makes her truly happy. Hiya! Even Chartreuse, who's training in the middle of the night like this, had an ending where his father, the commander of the knights, and his mother, the archwizard, both got killed, and he ended becoming the commander. His parents die in the line of duty, while facing off against a monster whose seal was broken. The protagonist comforts and cheers him on, which leads him to joining the subjugation party, and after the monster is killed, he's made the commander in one of the routes. It is followed by the main love interest, His Highness Vermilion, succeeding the throne and personally appointing Chartreuse as the commander. The other routes didn't mention him succeeding the position, but it's possible that he does so in those as well. Humph, my usual clothes are the most convenient to move around in. Oh, if I train wearing this skirt with the thigh-high slit, then maybe I can get used to maneuvering in situations where my movements are limited? His behavior makes me worry if the country would be in good hands if he ends up becoming the commander. Also, speaking of people I have met who I've known about before coming across them would be Kriemhild, Ash and Rivers. Well, excluding Lady Violet and His Highness Vermilion, of course. All of them did indeed fit the description I had of them in mind, but there were certainly parts of their personality that were unknown to me. Miss Schwartz was hired to kill Lady Violet. Miss Kriemhild wasn't at odds with Lady Violet. Chartreuse and Ash weren't in love with Miss Kriemhild. Rivers could wield something strange called word magic. I'm not sure if I could label these as decisive discrepancies or mere slips of memory, but I'm certain that something feels off. I'm not sure if the root of the issue is me or the girl that's friends with Chartreuse in the lot. At this rate, it's likely that the love interests or the enemies that the protagonist and her troupe will be facing off have also changed. The days are getting colder, As I walked pondering various things for a while, a sudden gust of cold wind snatched some of my body heat away, bringing my soliloquy to a pause. My body was growing colder and likely as a result of my slow pace. A bit of fatigue had also creeped up on me. This would probably be a good time to return to the mansion and let the fatigue envelope and lull me into the land of dreams. I stretched my limbs, taking short breaths, and turned on my heels to make my way back when blurg. There was something there. At first I imagined it was cyan or khaki being punished for downing one too many drinks, but I believe I was mistaken. Main reason being the person wasn't as tall. They had long, almost golden hair with a red tinge. Completely unlike those two whose hair is much shorter. She was someone I'd recently become acquainted with and knew quite well. I'm not sure why she's here in Shiki. If anyone were to see us together, I feel like it would lead to a misunderstanding of a nightly tryst, but I personally didn't want to pretend I hadn't seen her, so I decided to talk to her, hoping that she wouldn't be embarrassed that I had seen her in a less than preferable condition. "What's up, Miss Creamhild?" "Blur." "What?" Lord Cielo." And so I called out to Miss Creamhild, who was busy throwing up in a container at the corner of the road. Chapter 75, Little Encounters and Information Gathering under I shouldn't have drank alcohol. I was kind of longing to try it, and this is what I get. According to Miss Creamhild, she came to Shiki, stayed at the inn, and was offered alcohol when she was chatting happily with other customers at the bar. Although she apparently rejected the drink on the spot because while she was old enough to drink, she was also a student and couldn't go too crazy. Even so, since she always longed to drink alcohol, she tried a little in secret later. However, she got tipsy from that small amount of alcohol, and for some reason decided that exercising would make her feel better. Thus, she ended up in the state I found her in. She might have been okay if it was a light exercise, but she just had to do burpees and intense full-body exercise. Naturally, she also ended up vomiting. Well, some people end up like that. Please be careful in the future. Here you go. Thank you very much. I handed Miss Creamhild a cup filled with cold water from a water magic stone. After she sat down in a comfortable place and slowly drank water, she seemed to calm down, so I struck up a random conversation with her to distract her. "By the way, why are you in Shiki? Did you come to see Lady Violet?" "Well, that's a part of it too, but Ash asked me to take Char back." "I see." Ash was worried that if he left Chartreuse alone, he wouldn't come back for a week or so. Just as Ash was troubled because he couldn't go after Chartreuse due to some business, Miss Creamhild suggested that she'd go to check on him. Thus, she had arrived this evening. A woman, who was Ash's attendant, also came with her, but she was lured away by the lustful demon. Is that really fine, Ms. Attendant? To be lured away like this? Also, given the time period, it doesn't look like she has seen Chartreuse in that outfit, which I'm glad about. Apparently, Miss Creamhild will be going back tomorrow afternoon. If she has time in the morning, she also plans to meet Lady Violet. Is Vi doing well? Yes, she's doing fine. She's gotten used to her work as the Lord, and she's doing such a great job that I can't compare to her. When I said that, Miss Creamhild smiled with joy. I could tell that there was no other meaning to her smile. She really cared for Lady Violet, but that's exactly what sparked some doubts, so I decided to ask her a question. What do you think of the current Lady Violet, Miss Creamhild? What do you mean? I was wondering how she is right now compared to how she was at the academy. In response to my question, Miss Creamhild put her left hand on her chin and made a thinking posture. After pondering over it for a while, she answered. Well, when she was at the academy, she often had tense encounters with Ma, the girl who she dueled, and His Highness Vermilion. She was always frowning back then. She's not like that now, so I'm relieved. I think it's a good change, but I also feel a little sad that I'm not the one who caused it. Sir. I've thought this before too, but Miss Creamhild really isn't good at using honorifics. It's fine even if she doesn't force herself to do it. But if I point it out, I feel like she'll tell me to drop the honorifics too, so I'll just leave it at that. Even though I was pretty busy, I should have talked to her more. Well, even if I did talk to her, I think I would have been chased away by others around her. You were busy? Were you collecting materials for alchemy magic? That was a part of it too. But it seems that I'm quite different from other people, so I was desperately trying to make up for it. Different from others? Miss Creamhild was probably different from others from the moment she became able to use alchemy magic, But has she always been the kind of a person to realize that she was out of sync with others? She could reach various conclusions depending on the love interest route, so maybe she's just a very unusual person? No, maybe this is also the influence of the other girl who uses alchemy magic. Yes, I studied hard. I was finally able to use theory for the basic magic I'd been using with just a feeling until then. But it was nothing to worry about. I guess it's something like she wasn't good at basics because she was able to do things to some extent with her natural talent. In other words, you don't like looking at textbooks and your brain demands sleep whenever you do. Am I right? How could you tell? Miss Creamhild, you're the type to get more excited about the old weapons and magic circles written in document collections than textbooks, right? How do you know that? Because I was like that too. Magic circles in my previous life might have only been beloved by delusional edgelords, but in this world they're considered a proper science. Lately I found it troublesome to write them and construct them, so I don't use them unless I'm talking with people with strange tastes like apricot or using them for big ceremonies. When watching such a spectacle, I don't think it can be helped if I feel excited. Come to think of it, I remember there were several scenes where the main character wasn't good at studying and was taught by another capture target. Personally, I like the magic circle that was used to defeat roaring beasts. Oh, I get that. I'd say that it's written in a way that shows respect for the opponents by defeating them one by one instead of killing all 30 together. Yes, while the one-hit kill without any unnecessary tricks is also amazing, but the sense of precision that comes from discovering another interpretation of it just makes one so excited. To think that there was another way of looking at things. That's just, I get it, I totally get it. And the other thing is, you're right. That's why. Looks like my interests match with Miss Creamhild more than I thought. If we had a connection in previous life, we might have had similar hobbies like manga or games. If we were peers in this life, we might have become good classmates. Huh. Is this the so-called power of the main character? Did His Highness, Ash and the others fall for this charm? No, they didn't actually fall for her. CLO, are you cheating? I'm not. Oh, good work on the patrol. Just as we were engrossed in the discussion of magic, Robot, who was on patrol duty, landed in front of us. While we were having a chat about magic, a robot on patrol duty landed at our place. Maybe she was using silent mode because she appeared suddenly, but I felt her presence so I wasn't too surprised. However, just as I was worrying that Miss Creamhild might have been surprised, long time no see, Blondie. How have you been? Yes, I have been fine. You also seem to be in good health, so you seem to be feeling under the weather. Ahaha, I drank alcohol, but I was weaker than I expected. Now I'm fine thanks to Mr. Celo's care. Then, I'm glad. Also, please, call me Robot when I'm in this form. Oh, I'm sorry, Robo. Your name is so pretty I couldn't help myself. Wait, this girl did not just get used to Robot, but she's also close enough with her to call her by her name? When I asked her when they managed to become good friends, she told me that during the investigation, she used alchemy magic to create replacement parts for Robot when parts of her body malfunctioned. That's how they got close. Is this the power of the heroine after all? Chapter 76, Little Encounters and Information Gathering _3. It was late at night and Miss Creamhild was feeling much better, so I said goodbye to her and Robot and left. They seemed to still have something to talk about. Still, it's a bit bizarre to see the two of them together. There aren't many people who would look fitting next to Robot to start with, but since Miss Creamhild is so petite, they look even more suspicious together. Are you going back tomorrow noon? Looks like we won't be able to enjoy the hot spring together. It's fine. If I talk to Char and my accompanying person, they should give me enough time. Wait, didn't you hate showing your face, Robo? Yes. Thus, I will be bathing in this form. And won't you rust? As I was leaving, I overheard such conversation from behind me. But is there even a reason to enter water in that form? If I remember right, because of the purification function, Robot doesn't understand how it works either. She can stay clean permanently even without taking the armor off. Well then, more time has passed than I expected. I can't sleep in tomorrow, so it's about time I went home and slept. As I walked back towards the mansion, a man came into view. Phew, as expected, it's hard to move. I can't wear that outfit again, but just by wrapping a cloth around my waist in a skirt-like fashion, I can train in a different way from usual. Oops, GFH? Shit. It's good for training, but if I lose my balance for a bit, I end up tripping. But I won't lose. Let's pretend I didn't see him. I ignored Chartreuse, who had cloth wrapped around him like Cyan's outfit but without a slit, and walked away. I hope no rumors start spreading that you become weird when you come to Shiki. Wow, that's amazing, madam. It's wonderful that the Austin family has a lady like you. I shall meet you again when I go to the capital next time. Fufu, I want you to treat me not as a member of the Austin family, but as a mere woman today. Oh, my apologies. Well then, let us return to my room and continue, huh? Let's pretend I didn't see anything. If any problems arise, I'll ask the people from Kaki's family to take care of it, though I think Kaki himself would take the responsibility if any problems arose. Plus his family has both power and wealth. Bobo beauty. Phew, the moonlight feels good. Let's pretend I didn't see anything. How long is Miss Schwartz planning to stay like that? It's been hours since I last saw her and she's still striking that pose. She's even more exposed now. I hope she doesn't catch a cold. I feel like I've seen many mentally exhausting things, but ignoring them is one of the most important things when you live in Shiki. If I dealt with them one by one, I wouldn't be able to stay sane. Sometimes when you ignore them, they come back twice more annoying, so it's hard to strike the balance. Anyway, I returned to the entrance of the mansion. So I took a deep breath and put my hand on the door. Well then, should I just go to sleep like this? Or should I drink something to warm me up a bit and go to bed after calming down? I'm wearing a coat, but since it's thin I feel a little cold, so I want to warm myself up from the inside out. But I'm also a bit lazy to make a warm drink. Taking a bath is just as troublesome, but if I heat it up, it might get noisy and wake everybody up. Deciding that I'd just go to sleep as I was, I opened the door and went inside. Oh, welcome back, Lord Cielo. Lady Violet was at the entrance. To be more exact, when I came back, she came out of the living room and ran up to me. Just as I was dumbfounded, Lady Violet stood in front of me looking pristine. What's wrong, Lady Violet? I thought she was asleep, so I quietly went outside without telling anyone. That's why I didn't think she would be specifically waiting here for me. Well, if I don't pay attention, you'll keep sewing without going to sleep, Lord Cielo. When I went to your room with a warm drink to urge you to take a rest, you weren't there, so I got worried. But it looks like everything's fine, so I'm relieved. Contrary to my thoughts, she was really waiting for me. It's already late at night and Lady Violet probably also wants to sleep because she has the Lord's work at noon tomorrow. She was even worried about me and waited for me. If I had returned a little later, she might have changed her clothes and gone to look for me. Oh yeah, I made hot milk to warm you up. I just heated it up, so it probably hasn't gone cold yet. Will you drink it, Lord Cielo? Lady Violet smiled, as if I'd have come back at the perfect timing. She asked me with a slightly proud expression, like a child who had prepared a present. If you look at me with that expression, I won't be able to refuse even if I was tired and wanted to go to sleep right away. My exhaustion went away all at once. I'll drink it. I was just thinking that I wanted something warm. I can't really guarantee the taste, so don't compare it to Gray's. Yes, I know. It's probably better than what I'd make, so I'm looking forward to it. That's a sly way of wording it. We went to the living room for the hot milk that had been prepared and I sat close together with Lady Violet. We chatted together, tilting our cups while the other person was talking. As the warmth spread through my body, I felt a different part of me being filled as well. I think I'll sleep well today. Chapter 77. Ashes suffering under one seaweed. Vermilion has been becoming more free-spirited despite being royalty. Since kings in this kingdom are nominated, Vermilion can also become the king despite being the third prince, so I would like him to act more like a future king candidate. I feel complicated because it feels like the real expressions I used to see when we were young have started to come out on the surface more often, but when I think that this is also the influence of that girl, some people are saying that he's become easier to get along with. I guess it might still be considered growth in a way. Is Ree not here? What's wrong, Your Highness? You're being improper. Oh, it's you, Ash. Sorry, I was so excited that I ended up speaking roughly. I don't mind, but what happened? You don't lose your calm like this often, Your Highness, Your Highness. Does that stain and the thing in your hand mean that you— Yeah, this is the core I obtained by infiltrating a group of adventurers in a disguise, defeating Trent, giant tree monster, and dissecting it. I thought she'd be happy. Wash off that dirt in the bath right this moment. What are you doing? He goes crazy in a weird direction sometimes, but he does everything with her in mind, so it's fine. Is it really fine? Vermilion is still fine. A simple admonition to restrain himself is enough. Char's actions have become more stupid. When he was a child, he was so mischievous that he'd take me and Vermilion around and get scolded by his father, the Knight Commander. However, before entering the academy, he spent all his time training and had somehow become unfriendly, but after meeting her, I feel like he's gone back to the way he was before. Or more like he's become more stubborn. Saying that he would take responsibility as a man, he didn't mention what he was taking responsibility for. He returned to Shiki. In order to protect her, he tries to become stronger and fight stronger monsters. And in the process of that, he doesn't even notice that he's being scammed. What, is that true? Yes. Of course it is, Lord Calvin. There's a practitioner of the legendary Jeet Kune Do 3 towns south from here. I've also heard that they're accepting challengers until tomorrow. What? Damn, but there's no space distortion stone in that town, so I can't make it in time. Yes. So, how about this horse? It's a good horse that I wouldn't want to give up normally, but I can surrender it to you at a special price, Lord Calvin. That way you might make it in time. Oh, that would be generous. Thank you, merchant. As a reward, I'll purchase it at an extra. Wait. Is Char really okay? He said that he wanted to become a knight commander so she could be proud of him, but if he becomes the knight commander in his current state, the Knight Order would most likely end up disbanding. No, he might turn Knight Order into a paragon of justice. Also, I feel like people who went to Shiki for an investigation have become more true to their own desires. Austin, I have realized that I want to become a teacher in the future. Oh, that's a good decision. But why all of a sudden? After talking with Bly and Shiki, my desire to watch over the growth of boys has become even stronger. In other words, I have realized that in order to enjoy and protect their pure innocence, I must become a teacher myself. I understand. In order to protect the healthy growth of boys, I should do everything in my power to prevent you from doing so. I feel like the way a certain noble lady from the Viscount family looks at small children has changed. She used to say that she liked children before, but after going to Shiki, I realized that my understanding of her love was different from what I wish was the case. In order to protect the future of the children, and especially the boys, I must stop this girl's rampage. Oh, are you praying? I haven't seen you here before. Have you started coming recently? Lord Austin. Yes, I just started coming recently. If I come here I can see none clothes cough if I pray, that pure girl. I mean mystery lurking inside. No. This isn't what I had in mind. I came here to discard my earthly desires and had no other purpose. Why are you clutching your head? The son of a certain baron began to have a mysterious guilt towards nuns. When he'd look at nuns, he would start praying as if he was trying to escape from something, mumbling, I can't see any lines from above the clothes, slit from below. As somebody who never misses worship, I can't help but be concerned about him. Mainly I'm concerned whether he'll try to commit an impulsive crime. There are others who've also been affected strangely too. Kukuku, mix this medicine here. Kukuku, is it you? The student who's been conducting suspicious experiments. I'm just cultivating mushrooms with black magic. A certain student started growing mushrooms with black magic. Are you being bullied? No, I was taught that in order to grow good vegetables, I must understand how the soil feels. And that's why you buried yourself in the ground with only your face showing? Yes. Oh, please don't worry. I'm doing this in a perfect condition so there is no danger. Is that so? A certain student who loves a vegetable garden buried himself in the area where the plants grow. Kukuku, demon of darkness, I shall let you run wild to your heart's content. With my Lord Ree Flower while Lord Ash. I did not see anything. That should be fine, right? I don't believe in selfless kindness. Please let me do something. Should I lick your shoes? It's fine. How can you become subservient so suddenly? A certain classmate started bandaging his hand and saying strange things in the early morning classroom. My head hurts, really. For the first time in my life as one of the people in charge of the class, I felt like giving up on everything. No, I think I still have it better compared to Baron Hartfield. The ones in the academy are still calm since they still have self-control and are trying to resist. Baron Hartfield is in charge of a group of people without limiters, who still try to push their agenda even when they're being told to stop. If you think about it that way, I still have it better than him. Plus, there's still not a lot of them. Next time, I need to ask him to teach me how he keeps them in check or maybe how to calm them down. It might also be a good idea to have him teach me how to avoid stress. Speaking of Baron Hartfield, I remember that he said something bizarre. If I remember right, it was about whether Char Vermilion and I were on good terms with Nephrite. In this context, I think he meant being close not as classmates but as people of the different sex. Nephrite is indeed a charming woman. Her academic ability was about average when she first entered the school, but recently she's been working hard enough that her name is being mentioned among the top for some subjects, and she's also been putting an effort to use magic other than alchemy magic too. She has great athletic abilities and she's aggressive enough that it makes you wonder where she stores her strength in that small body of hers. But if I had to describe her with one word, it would be alien, I guess? Suddenly, those words escaped from my mouth. After checking my surroundings and making sure that nobody was around, I once again thought about the meaning of the words that I had blurted out spontaneously. Creamhilled Nephrite. She's a petite human girl who doesn't even reach 150 centimeters in height, and uses the same alchemy magic as her. Her skill in alchemy magic is also similar to that girl, and she's an instinctive type genius who can create various things. She has many friends and her affable smile soothes everybody who sees her. But there is something fundamentally wrong with Nephrite. She gets happy at the smallest of things. She can get mad in other people's stead. She can express sadness even when it's being suppressed. She can see things in an enjoyable light. But look at it from the side, Nephrite is clearly full of emotions because she can feel all those things. She's full of emotions, but something feels strange. I don't know why, but I feel like she's missing something. As if something that should be there is missing. Phew, that should do it. I've seen it before. When she needed monster parts as materials for alchemy magic, I've seen her choose to hunt down monsters instead and dissect them without a hesitation. Alchemy magic is magic that uses all materials as raw ingredients and reassembles them into something different. Therefore, she might just be used to it, but that's not the problem. Her eyes looked as she didn't care from the very beginning. Oh, Ash. What happened? Just as I was about to ponder deeper, I suddenly heard a voice from behind me. That voice made me realize that I had lost sight of my surroundings, so I stopped my thoughts for a bit and turned to the direction of the voice. It was from the voice of a girl I love. Beautiful long golden hair. Red eyes that seemed to swallow everything. Her smile is more beautiful than any paintings, any statues of goddesses I've seen. A woman who has mastered all aspects of academics, attribute magic and alchemy magic. A woman of integrity who never neglects her efforts and has everything. And above all, my beloved, who saw through my heart which I had never opened up to anybody and saved me. Her name is... Chapter 78. Ashes suffering under seaweed. Mary. Taller stature than most women. Fine, translucent white skin and long, slender limbs. Her each and every gesture is so refined you can't help admiring them. A woman so perfect she seems to have no flaws no matter where you look. She, Mary, was looking at me with a worried expression, her beautiful golden hair fluttering in the wind. Yes, good morning, Ash. You had a very serious expression on your face. If there is something worrying you, I will be happy to listen. No, it's fine. I was just thinking about next month. I was worried about the budget and guests. I was embarrassed that her red eyes, which would put any jewels to shame, were reflecting me with worry, so I smiled from the bottom of my heart to stop Mary from worrying. Mary, who could easily tell a fake smile from a real one, felt that there was no hidden meaning behind my expression and smiled with relief. She's as beautiful as ever. If I had to describe her now, the word saint would be the most appropriate. When you say next month, do you mean the school festival at the end of the semester? Yes. I have many things to do as the class representative. There are a lot of issues to take care of. You have to start this early? Even though you're also a student. Well, most things are done by the teachers, but it seems like the purpose is to help students develop the ability to take charge while they're young. The School Festival. The School Festival held at Azalea Academy is a major event that rivals the graduation ceremony and will be held over several days at the end of the next month. First, there are tournaments divided by grade and theme held at the arena. This event is a great opportunity for students to showcase themselves, because the military personnel and people from all sorts of occupations are also evaluating students. However, due to the problems caused by match fixing stemming from the pressure from differences in social status and illegal betting, monitoring mustn't be neglected. I plan on teaching those who attempt to apply pressure based on social status differences among the nobles what real pressure is. Then there are the projects by each class. I have to monitor the magic used for the projects and make sure that there are no profit-oriented projects. I also have to make sure that sanitation is maintained. There are many other problems too, like participation in the aforementioned arena and the lack of cooperation between nobles and commoners. On the final day, there's a party to wrap up everything. It's a social gathering with alumni and various other related parties. In other words, it becomes a place where students who attracted attention through their matches or projects are scouted. I see. I can help you if you're fine with it. It looks like it'll be a good learning experience. That's an attractive offer. Mary isn't saying this just to be polite. If I asked for help, she'd help me without a word. And with Mary's own abilities and charm, the school festival will become even better. Mary is a wonderful woman, enough to make me sure of this. And if she'll be helping out, we'll have more chances to be alone. No, that won't be necessary. I might ask you for help in case of an emergency, but if I borrow your help too early, I'm afraid I'll turn into a weakling who cannot do anything by myself. However, if I borrow somebody else's help from this early on, I would be pathetic not only as a member of the Marquis family, but also as Ash Austen. I don't just want to rely on her. I must also make an effort in the right direction to make her see me as a lover. Fufu, I don't think that you can't do anything, Ash. From what I've seen so far, you've worked harder than anyone else to support Vermilion. I'm happy to hear that, but I can't say that my efforts until now have all gone in a positive direction. That's why you slapped me after all. Please don't mention that. When I said it teasingly, her face turned a little red and she looked away. How cute. A slap is something Mary did to me in the past. Before, I did everything behind the scenes to make Vermilion the king. I thought that it was fine if my hands got dirty as long as Vermilion ascended the throne. However, Mary, who saw through me, slapped me without a regard for her position on the campus. She even tearfully expressed her concern for my safety. Having always thought of myself as disposable, those words came as a shock to me. Mary has taught me that I had a different worth too. Many people saw what happened, and since Mary wasn't a noble, she was at risk of being suspended or even expelled, but I remember how happy I was that she risked all this because she was worried about me. I can't ever thank you enough for the favor you did to me at that time. There is no way I would ever forget it or stop talking about it. You're so mean, Ash. Yes, I'm fine with being mean as long as I can see your cute expression. Humph. When I said that, she puffed her cheeks a little and turned away. Adorable. No, calm down, Ash. Mary being adorable is an objective fact, but I must calm down. I want nothing but to hug this adorable girl and steal her sensual lips, but that would make me the same as the lustful demon from Shiki. No, I'm different from that man who hits on every female in sight because I love Mary and I don't have a desire to commit sodomy either. That's why I have to restrain myself. I wonder if being in Shiki has really infected me with something. Should I quarantine myself? Oh, by the way, the school festival reminded me of something. Yes, what's wrong? Mary stopped pouting and turned to me as if she had remembered something. If she remembered something in association to the school festival, it has to be something related to the party. The party at the end of the first semester. Violet once gave Mary some advice about her dress before the party where she challenged her to a duel. This time is different from the previous student-only party, so maybe she wants some advice on how to conduct herself. Is it true that Lady Violet is invited to the school festival? However, Mary asked me something completely different from what I was expecting. Where did you hear that? It's just a rumor. I didn't really believe it because it's a rumor, but judging from your reaction, it must be true. Yes, it's true. What Mary asked is the truth. Violet, Baron and Baroness Hartfields are indeed invited to the school festival. Nominally, it's treated as an invitation sent to former students, however. While I don't know all the details, for some reason in addition to being invited as people who have been involved with the academy, they have also received an invitation in the name of the royal family. Since it's effectively an imperial order, it can't be refused. If they try to refuse it, the position of Baron CLO Hartfield will become even more unstable than it is now. However, for us the problem is that Violet received an invitation. That duel incident still hasn't faded and there are many other students, in addition to the involved parties like Vermilion and Eccles, who hold a grudge against her. Honestly, troubles can't be avoided no matter how this situation is handled. My head hurts. Mary, but what I'm the most worried about is Mary. The relationship between them is definitely tense. Mary is kind, so even if she doesn't hold a grudge against Violet, Violet might still. It's fine. However, Mary took my hand and smiled to reassure me. I have all my friends. As long as they're with me, I'm not afraid of anything. I felt my heart jump at the sudden touch. I understand that this action is just to put me at ease, and that this is a compassionate action like a mother comforting her child, but I can't help feeling nervous. Can I not get her to see me as a man? I might as well hold her body close and, besides, I thought that I would never see her again after she became a nun. Stop. That's not good. I want to steal her away, but that would be meaningless. I held down my rising emotions and returned my attention to Mary's words. Come to think of it, Mary did ask us if Violet became a nun after she left the academy, but what made Mary think that she would become a nun? But I'm happy if I can still meet her. Since she's safe, I look forward to seeing her. I was worried that Mary might have felt anxious or fearful towards Violet, but it looks like I was overthinking. No, Mary is a strong woman. She might just be acting brave to not make me worry. I don't have so much hatred towards Violet like before, but I haven't actually forgiven her. If something happens that makes Mary sad, I have to protect her. But what does she mean by she's safe? Was she worried that Violet would be put under house arrest by Duke Valentine? Yes, I'm really looking forward to it. But Mary's smile, that captivates everybody who sees her, blew away all my doubts. When I look at her, I feel like everything is bewitching, to the point that it makes me think that her actions are backed by the prior knowledge of what will happen. Is this also a part of the weakness that comes from being in love? By the way, Ash, I was looking for you because I had one more thing to ask. You wanted to ask me something? In response to my question, Mary smiled suspiciously in a way different from before, and as if she were playing a mischievous joke. Have you heard of Carbuncle? She said a spirit's name. Chapter 79, A Sojourn of Some Strange People _1. Ha ha, I haven't had miladies in such a long time, ha ha. A pervert. It was late afternoon when the sun had risen high. When I returned home, a pervert was there. I really wish somebody would explain this situation to me. I'm sure an explanation would make this even more confusing, but at least it's going to be a good way to escape this reality. Still, there are times when we have to face reality. The pervert is holding Lady Violet's. Considering the pervert's duty, that in itself isn't weird. It's not supposed to be weird, but it is weird how excited the pervert is. It's okay, I'm CLO Hartfield. Ever since I became Shiki's lord, I have had to reluctantly get used to such strange people. I shall gracefully turn them aside this time too. Ha ha. I might as well put it in my mouth. Oh, this is the type of a situation I shouldn't ignore. I have to solve this problem. I resolved myself and decided to stand in front of the pervert. Why did things turn out this way again? I'm sorry, but may I please have a moment? Yes. I was taking a break from the work of very belatedly attaching snow protections to the garden trees of Mr. Green, who hurt his back in preparation of winter for the second time this year, with the help of his daughter Emerald, when a certain man spoke to me. When I turned towards the voice, I saw an unfamiliar couple with similar features, who were dressed in winter coats and carrying travel bags. Both had slightly pointy and long ears, which weren't hidden by their hair, so maybe they had elf blood in them. What happened? I put the cup of tea without poison, brewed by Emerald nearby, stood up, took off my working gloves and approached the pair. When I got close, both of them bowed. Is it just my imagination, or do they seem strangely used to this? When I looked closer, I realized that they were a very good-looking couple with the same brown hair and distinctive red and yellow eyes. They didn't look flashy enough to make a deep impression, but they looked down-to-earth and simple. We want to stay here. Is there any place where we can spend the night? Oh, in that case, as usual, I told them about the Inn Rainbow and the church where they could stay the night. If neither of them are available tonight, I'll invite them to my house, but that's only if they're both unavailable. I can't invite people to my house willy-nilly. And this time the pair chose to stay at the inn. I offered to show them around, but I was politely declined, with the excuse being they couldn't bear to bother me that much. Then we will excuse ourselves. The man spoke and bowed together with the woman. It really feels like they're used to it. Could they be servants of some family? Oops. I forgot to mention that I'm the Lord. I always tell people to rely on me when people of Shiki cause trouble for them, but this time I completely forgot thanks to their soft-spoken attitude and a conversation with no idle chatter. Well, it's fine. In case of an emergency, they can ask the innkeeper, and if they plan to stay for a few days, I'll take that chance to introduce myself again. They came here to stay? What a strange pair. Hey, Emerald made a rude remark as she sipped her, slightly poisonous tea. She had a lot of guts to say something like that in front of her lord, but it's a little frustrating that I can't rebuke her strongly because she's not entirely wrong. A young man and a woman? Yes. When I returned to the mansion and told Lady Violet what had happened earlier in the living room, she asked with a slightly quizzical look. Shiki lacks tourist attractions. Furthermore, given the season, it's rare to see tourists that aren't merchants, not to mention a pair of a young man and a woman. They might have eloped or been on a honeymoon. However, since they had similar features, they seemed more like siblings on a trip. They might have come here after hearing the rumors of the hot spring. There is also a chance that they may enjoy visiting secluded regions. Here's your tea, sir. Yeah, that's a possibility too. And thank you, Gray. I received tea from Gray and considered the possibility, although I haven't advertised it yet. I've announced that a hot spring has been discovered. I guess there is a possibility that they are hot spring enthusiasts who came here after hearing the rumors. And the tea seeped into my cold body. Tea and coffee brewed by Gray are far more delicious than the ones I make, even though they are supposed to be the same thing. Lord Cielo, what were the characteristics of that pair? It's rare for you to be curious like that, Lady Violet. I guess. Lady Violet also received tea from Gray and sat in the chair opposite me. At first, I thought her question came from her caution towards people like Miss Schwartz, but it seemed like her questions were about something else. Both of them had shoulder-length brown hair and they had elf characteristics, with the man having red eyes and the woman having yellow eyes. I can't take a correct guess at their ages if they're elves, but I guess they looked a little younger than me, a human. A pair of a man and a woman with brown hair and red and yellow eyes. And elf characteristics. Could they have been? Oh, but Lady Violet didn't even touch the tea as they pondered about the characteristics I was recalling and muttered as if she had an idea of who they might have been. Maybe she knows them from the capital. They could have been seniors from school, acquaintances from the same noble circle, or maybe people from her paternal home. Oh, it looks like we have a visitor. I will take a look. Please do. Just as I was wondering, the mansion's doorbell rang, as if to interrupt my thoughts. Gray, who was first to react, set down the cup of tea he had brewed for himself, left the living room and walked quickly towards the front door. I'm not waiting for anybody today, so who might it be? Maybe it's Mr. Yellow or Mrs. Blue, who've come to share rations for winter, or Science here to pester me for something. No, maybe it's the pair I saw earlier. They might have come here to greet me after deciding to stay here for a while or relocate to Shiki forever. If it's the latter, they're pretty strange, or they're perverts. No, I can't think this way as the Lord. Then, as I waited while sipping my tea, Gray returned after a while. Lord Cielo, we have guests. I assume they're the people we were just talking about. They seem to have wanted to greet you, so I took them to the reception room. Got it. Gray, please make some tea. Yes, sir. As expected, the visitors were the pair from before. I took one more sip of tea and stood in front of the nearby mirror to adjust my clothes. I can't make them wait or go too fast, so I'll head for the guest room after a few seconds. Then Lady Violet also stood up and came to me. I'll come with you, Lord Cielo. As expected, you have an idea who they might be? Probably. But I'm not entirely sure. Is it okay if we greet them together? Yes, of course. I had no reasons to refuse, so I accepted her suggestion. From what I saw, it didn't seem to be a trauma related to the duel, so I'll keep an eye on her casually. I walked down the hallway of this kind of pointlessly wide mansion, stood at the front door of the guest room, took a deep breath and opened the door. I am sorry to have kept you waiting. No, we are sorry for the sudden visit. Pleased to meet you. We are. You are? You're from earlier today. As soon as I entered the guest room, it was the same brown-haired pair from before who stood up and bowed to me. The only difference from before was the fact that they had no luggage with them, and their strong-willed yet kind gaze had changed into a wary one. Sorry to have kept you waiting. When Lady Violet came after me, her expression changed to a mixture of various emotions, like confusion and nostalgia. I had my doubts, but they're really her. As expected, it was you guys. It's been a while. Burnt amber. Milady. Chapter 80, A Sojourn of Some Strange People under Saru. I apologize for my earlier impoliteness. Pleased to meet you once again, Lord Cielo. My name is Burnt Bulstrode and I served as Lady Violet's butler. And this is my younger sister. I am Amber. Pleased to make your acquaintance from now on. Thank you for your introduction. I am the Lord of Shiki Cielo Hartfield. Pleased to meet you. Please have a seat. Thank you for your concern. After seeing Lady Violet, the pair was a little distraught, then they suddenly came to their senses, calmed down, and returned to their composed expressions. They introduced themselves to us after standing up and bowed respectfully. Apparently they are twin half-elf siblings, and they served as Lady Violet's servants at her parental ducal house. They are 24 years old. Normally, most servants wouldn't care if the person they were serving went somewhere because they only have a contractual relationship, but those two seemed to have come to Shiki because they were worried about Lady Violet's safety. It looks like they admire her a lot. Apparently, they wanted to come rushing to Shiki from the moment Lady Violet came here, but Duke Valentine hid the information. They had only recently found out about her actual whereabouts, and after hearing the rumors about her, they immediately came running here. That's all I found out about them, but I don't think they appeared in Ring of Fire, though their names might have been dropped at least. I'm sorry, the letters I sent were also being censored by the person who was monitoring me. I couldn't relay the information about where I was. No, it's a blessing just to be able to see you like this. Still, I'm surprised you could find out that I was here. They looked a little reluctant to answer Lady Violet's question. However, they soon recovered and Mr. Burnt answered in a businesslike tone with the same composed expression as before. We heard rumors about you by coincidence, milady, and followed them to this land. Rumors, huh? Yes. And we also learned of various rumors about this Shiki place where you were supposed to be, milady. While this might be rude, I was worried about whether you had gotten used to the place, as you had hardly been out of the capital. Judging from his reaction just now, they came here because they were worried about perversion in Shiki, and also heard rumors about me. They probably also heard that I'm violent, embezzle funds, and that the military will arrest me as soon as I'm seen in the capital. The rumors about me in the capital are usually all like that. I see. So, you've heard the rumors about Lord Cielo being abnormal Cagliostro, and were worried that I might be treated indecently. What might you be talking about? Why yes, we don't know what you might be talking about, milady. Why is that name actually spreading? Is it them? Is it the person who I angered and who caused me to be appointed as the Lord of Shiki spreading it? That aside, those two really suck at lying. Their eyes are swimming around like crazy. You guys are really bad at making up lies on the spot. Ugh, looks like Lady Violet also knows that they're not good at lying. Since she clarified that they can't do it on spot, maybe it's not like they're completely unable to lie. From their appearance and the way they conducted themselves before, I thought they were the types to hide their emotions, but they're actually the type of people to show exactly what they're feeling on their faces. Of course we would be worried. We heard that your broken heart was taken advantage of after you were dumped by His Highness. We heard you were being trained and had become completely dependent on the person both physically and emotionally. That's right. We heard that you couldn't leave your husband even if you were cheated on because you were afraid of being abandoned, so you put on the slave collar on your own and even started laying your hands on young boys. Wait, where did that rumor come from? They went on offense. Maybe they're actually easy to get along with. Also, what's with that rumor? We haven't even kissed. How did I end up being painted as such a pervert? Now that I think about it, we really still haven't even kissed. Wait, was that the reason why they were glaring at me earlier? If they found out that the master they love is married to a husband whose nickname is Abnormal Cagliostro, and learns about a special place called Shiki, of course they would be worried. They're the type of servants who would even come all the way here. So is it true? Of course not. The siblings talked in unison and drew near while we both denied it at the same time. This was completely unthinkable. Rather than that person spreading the rumors, it's more like the information leaked from the students that came to Shiki and snowballed into those rumors, but I think they got misinterpreted too much. Then, after looking relieved at our replies, they apologized for getting close and sat back down in their original spot. I'm glad. So the rumors that you were flying in the sky while hanging onto an unknown object, borrowed the power of a black mage and have a 10-year-old son which you gave birth to when you were 5 years old are lies too, right? Well, I did think that those were lies. Brother is such a worrywart. There is no way milady would duel a nun with her bare fists and magic, harvest poisonous herbs and even use magic on a monster with his highness face. No, actually that information is closer to reality. Yes, those rumors are mostly correct. They were laughing at first, but when we corrected some of their misconceptions, like the fact that it was an adopted son and not a biological one, and told them that the rumors were fairly true, they looked at us strangely and let out a small dry laugh. They seemed to have thought that we were joking, but Lady Violet added, "If you think so, it may be better to keep thinking that way. However, being flexible is also important. They're surprisingly good people if you accept them, so try to actually interact with them." When she told them, they both held their heads with the same gesture, trying to come to terms with reality. We watched them clutch their heads as we waited leisurely for Gray to make tea. Chapter 81, A Sojourn of Some Strange People 3. While Mr. Burnt and Ms. Amber were holding their heads in the same pose, Gray came and brought tea with him, so we started sharing information with each other and fact-checking the rumors while drinking tea, which also served as a way to introduce Gray and calm them down. As a result, everything they thought was true turned out to be false, and most of what they thought were false turned out to be true. Why can't I just say that rumors are usually all like that? It's really strange. By the way, what are you guys going to do now? I did hear from Lord Cielo that you would be staying at the inn. Yes, we plan to stay here for a while. To be honest, after hearing the rumors, we even thought about taking milady to the Empire or Republic depending on the situation. After that, Mr. Burnt looked at me and Gray and then returned his gaze to Lady Violet. I am relieved to see you in good health, milady. In this case, we don't even need to do anything. I see. Sorry for making you worry about my safety. However, the fact that they were willing to go abroad for Lady Violet, who's the daughter of their employer, makes me think that they really love her. When Lady Violet came to Shiki, she was accompanied by her father's people. They were sent here to monitor her and would never be on her side. And I had heard that those who were close to her to some extent weren't told where she went so she wouldn't cause unnecessary trouble. From these points, I knew that those two would be her close attendants. Milady will be cooking? Milady, who looked at me with disdainful eyes while saying that it wasn't something she was supposed to do when I offered to teach her how to cook? Sorry about that. I can tell that they're close with each other just by observing their conversation. But this is unexpected. This might sound rude, but I had thought that when she was at the capital, Lady Violet was strong-willed and stubborn and she didn't have many allies that she could call close friends, so I'm happy she had people she could talk to like this. Mr. Burnt, Miss Amber, if you don't mind, would you like to stay at my mansion for the duration of your stay? I don't know how long you will be staying, but the longer you stay, the more you will spend on your accommodations. No, we can't possibly inconvenience you. Don't hold back. This house is big, but it's only me, Lord Cielo and Gray here. We have spare rooms too, so 2 more people won't cause any problems. Lady Violet, I think it'll be very hard for them to refuse if you word it that way. In fact, they look like they have a hard time. Wait, that's not the expression of refusal. It's not a troubled expression, but rather a surprised one. You 3 are the only ones in this mansion? Yes, I'm embarrassed to say that we don't have the luxury of hiring many people. Besides, it's not in my nature to have too many servants. Is that so? Miss Amber asked as if she were confirming something. I don't know the details of how they came to serve in Duke Valentine's residence now, but the Duke's residence probably has dozens of servants residing in an even larger mansion than mine, so compared to that, it's true that it might be a strange sight to have Gray as the only attendant. What's more, Gray is actually my son, so it's questionable whether he can be called a servant. Milady, I heard earlier that you were doing the cooking, but do you perhaps also do the laundry and cleaning yourself too? Yeah. Everyone is responsible for cleaning their own rooms and washing their underwear, but we usually take turns. Milady does it herself. Come to think of it, Lady Violet has become quite used to doing housework like laundry and cleaning. I remember that she had a hard time in the beginning when she would end up making more mess after trying to clean in a hurry, and burning cooking utensils when trying to cook. However, since Lady Violet was a fast learner, she got used to it fairly quickly. I used to say that it wasn't something I had to do, but now that I've tried it, it's surprisingly, this won't do. Fun. Perhaps Lady Violet's words were unexpected to them. They leaned forward again and started approaching us. What's with this really bad premonition I'm having? It feels like somebody who I thought was a normal person suddenly became unhinged. Chartreuse is the most recent example that comes to mind. Milady, it's fine to clean your own room to improve self-discipline. However, even though you're a baroness now, you are still a former daughter of a duke. As somebody of a noble birth, you should leave taking care of the surroundings to the servants. That's the reason for why we even exist. Be burnt. That's right. The way you space out for 5 minutes when you wake up in the morning, the way you started growing out your hair after you heard that His Highness liked long hair, the way you almost started crying when you were trying to overcome your hate for tomatoes. You should only show those weaknesses to servants close to you. Hey, stop it, Amber. Is that so? Lady Violet seemed level-headed in the mornings, but she had that kind of side to her too? And she actually used to hate tomatoes? Also, maybe they not only admire Lady Violet, they're also just... Since Lord Cielo and Grey are men, they can't fully take care of you, milady. There are bound to be some tasks that you can't leave to someone of the opposite sex, such as changing your clothes, taking care of your hair and assisting you with bathing. No, nobody has assisted me with bathing ever since I was a child. We can't stay like this. We have to make preparations right this instant, younger sister. Yes, brother. I feel bad for Rainbow's innkeeper, but we must tell him that we will start working at this mansion from now on, to take care of milady's personal needs. Wait, I heard that you guys came here on a vacation. Yes, of course, milady. That's why we will be taking a vacation from working at the house of Duke Valentine, and start working here instead. Since we're still on a vacation, we don't need wages. What? Alright, I get it. They're the type of people who are workaholics and worship differences in status. They are what I would call corporate slaves in my previous life. Looking at them, I started thinking that perhaps they are fully qualified to become citizens of Shiki. Lord Cielo, was I mistaken? I thought that a vacation is for playing around and resting. No, you are right, so you shouldn't imitate them, Grey. Chapter 82, A Sojourn of Some Strange People under Thor. I, Amber Bulstrode, still don't trust the man called Cielo Hartfield. I appreciate that you want to work for us, but are you really sure you want to do it? Lord Cielo, we are of a much lower status than you. There is no need to talk to us with honorifics. Since you are our master as well, we will do anything you order us to. To start with, it would be unreasonable to expect me to trust a man who I've only met a few days ago. It's true that when I first saw him, he looked like a good person who lived in this area, and it didn't seem like talking to him would cause any problems, but that's not enough reasons to let my guard down. According to the rumors, he's violent, lustful, and has relationships with many women. I also heard he is vain, arrogant, and jealous. Milady also said that rumors should only be used as a reference, but as long as there's fuel for those rumors to exist, we should be careful. Although Milady is less prickly as before, she's still acting resolutely, but it's possible that she's acting calm to avoid worrying us. There's also a chance that she's secretly under hypnosis due to some mental magic. If that's the case, my brother and I have to protect her. I understand. You will have to get used to honorifics gradually, but I would much appreciate it if you could please take care of Lady Violet's needs and help Grey instead of heeding my orders. It would be easier that way. I tried to act more eager, But it looks like CLO Hartfield is different from the nobles I've served until now. If anything, it feels more appropriate to call him a family-oriented commoner who lives in a slightly wealthy family. In any case, for now I'll put all those aside and take care of Milady for the first time in a long while. Milady, Lady Violet Valentine, now known as Lady Hartfield, the former master of my brother and I, who's dignified, noble, full of beauty and talent and worthy of being the queen. Technically, we are serving Lady Violet's father, but that's irrelevant. I'm able to serve Milady again. There is no greater joy than this. Frankly speaking, I'm planning to fully understand the current situation at the Hartfield family over the next few days. Quit the Valentine family and come here. I don't know yet whether I will also serve CLO Hartfield as my master at that time or take Lady Violet with me, but I will enjoy this happiness first. I'll start with cleaning the mansion first. It's small compared to the Duke's residence, but it's spacious enough to need 3 people to clean it. Gray, who's treated as a secretary, is excellent at his work and takes meticulous care of the details, but he's missed some things. All 3 of us must work together to create a space suitable for Milady to live in. My brother and I like cleanliness. In my case, it's because there aren't any unnecessary odors in a well-cleaned space. To enjoy the fragrance that I love, the air, dust and humidity must be in perfect condition. Oh, Lord Burnt and Lady Amber do a wonderful job of cleaning. I could never come close to this level of perfection. Gray is quite good at giving compliments. His praise is pure, without any ulterior motives. He's not being calculating and manipulative. And I can also see that he's not just praising us, but is also trying to learn from us. He also seems to be a nobleman, but as expected, he's also not like other nobles. There are some nobles who serve as attendants when they are young, but in Gray's case, he feels more like a servant like us than a nobleman. And Gray always smells slightly sweet. It's a sweet fragrance stemming from the underdeveloped pheromones that's characteristic of boyhood and love for cleanliness. Later, when I teach him how to clean, I will get close to his body and enjoy the scent that comes directly from his body, after which I will enjoy the change in fragrance over time emitted from the things he wears. Sullivan, WTF. Next is cooking. I was shocked to hear that Milady herself had been cooking, but looks like even CLO Hartfield cooks here. It's a given that the person of the lower status will be doing the cooking, so it's surprising that he would do it himself, but all of them seem to have similar proficiency. However, when it comes to cooking, my brother and I have no equals. Fufu, I was able to see Milady eat for the first time in a long while. Next comes laundry. At the Hartfield residence, everybody takes turns to do laundry except for their underwear. They typically deal with their own underwear themselves. It's like they take turns to make sure that nobody is washing the underwear of the opposite sex. I generally like the smell of sweat, but I prefer the smell of the washed clothes that are mixed with the smell of the sun. In order to enjoy that, I must wash each item separately. That being said, I feel like I'm seeing a lot of clothes that aren't expensive but are well tailored. I washed clothes of CLO Hartfield and Gray one after another. They don't seem to be the types to pile up clothes, so it ended quickly. And finally came Milady's clothes. I can't believe this. I feel so much longing just because I haven't been able to touch them for a few months. I was prepared to not see her for a while when she started attending school, but she got married out of nowhere and I had no idea where or who she married to. Being unable to intake the new dose of Milady's essence for a while, I started developing Milady deficiency syndrome. Haha, it's been a long time since I've touched clothes worn by Milady. But what about now? It's been a long time since I've smelled Milady's raw fragrance and her fresh clothes in my hand. Milady is a wonderful person. She's beautiful enough that even I'm fascinated by her despite also being a woman. Her academic ability, mana and athletic abilities are so refined that I could never match her. And more than anything, Milady's fragrance is the best out of all my previous masters. This isn't good. I have to endure it. Wasn't I also holding back at the Duke's residence? No, that was because Milady was always nearby so I could always replenish on her essence, but can I actually manage to be patient while receiving her frontier ions at such a short distance for the first time in a while? No, I cannot. Haha. I might as well just put it in my mouth. That's right, what if I just put it in mouth at once to hold back this feeling? Wouldn't I be able to replenish the lacking essence all at once by taking them in excessive amounts? No, calm down. This makes me sound like a pervert. I just like the fragrance emitted by humans and elves. And I'm no pervert by any means. It's not like I will feel the scent better just by putting it in my mouth anyway. Haha, I was totally out of my mind. Okay, I'll do it all at once. But my body doesn't do as I want it to. Why? Why are Milady's -ions so appealing? Please don't. My arm was grabbed and CLO Hartfield stopped me from bringing Milady's clothes closer. That's strange. I was paying close attention to make sure that nobody else was here, but I didn't notice his presence. Could a ninja from the eastern country have disguised themselves as CLO Hartfield? Is something wrong, Lord CLO? Please don't act innocent. What were you trying to do with Lady Violet's clothes? Tasting? Please don't say it as if you were taste-testing wine. Miss Amber, you simply adore Lady Violet, right? CLO Hartfield looked at me suspiciously and asked me a question. How rude. When you look at me like that, it almost makes me seem like a pervert. Fine, I'll dispel those doubts of yours. My brother and I adore Milady. Yes. The reason why we first started admiring Lady Violet was simple, because she did not consider us disposable. We have served many people since we were children, but even a slight mistake would result in unreasonable violence in the name of punishment or discipline, and we would easily be fired. However, while the Valentine family was strict, they weren't unreasonable and we received sufficient compensation for our conduct. When it was decided that we would serve as Milady's attendants, we decided to do our best to live up to the expectations. Okay. I can see well that you two are excellent at your work and that Lady Violet trusts you a lot. Thank you very much. It's embarrassing to be told so again, but let's leave it at that. However, the education of the Valentine family was strict, and Milady continued to receive an even stricter education to improve herself. It was so she would not embarrass herself in the future as somebody who was the candidate to become the mother of the nation. When we saw the sight of a child much younger than us working hard to strive for the future, at first we thought that the world we lived in and our viewpoints as living beings were very different. We looked at her as if she lived above the clouds. However, one day, for the first and last time ever, I saw Milady crying alone in her room so nobody would see her. At first she was distraught that my brother and I had seen her, and she tried to act firm. However, as we listened to her stories one by one, we came to a very natural conclusion that she was still a child. Since she was a child, it was natural for her to complain, and we realized at that moment that we were not looking at the person we were serving. When I told her that there was no one else there and that it was okay for her to complain to us, Milady buried her face in my chest and cried quietly. So something like that happened, huh? Yes. And that's when I realized that her fragrance was wonderful. He gave me a questioning look for some reason, but I didn't dwell on it. My brother and I thought that from now on we would serve Milady to help her. We would support her so that she could become a strong queen. When I realized that if I did so, I would always be able to enjoy this wonderful fragrance, my world changed forever. I love the warm fragrance that she emits when Milady sweats from her training. I love Milady's fragrance mixed with perfume oil that wafts from her hair and from her flushed cheeks after her bath, which she takes to maintain her beauty and to relieve her exhaustion. I love Milady's fragrance mixed with paper and ink that permeates her room when she studies late into the night. I love all sorts of fragrances that come from Milady. It's such a blessing to be able to serve her. I have sometimes wondered why I liked her so much. But one day we came to a certain conclusion. It's because Milady is a noble and a proud person that we came to love her so much. That's why I decided to support my noble master. My feelings of love for her will not lose to anybody, even to my brother. Oh no, those siblings were unhinged in a different way all along, once again very rude. That makes it sound like me and my brother are perverts. Chapter 83, A Sojourn of Some Strange People _5. I burnt Bulstrode, don't fully trust CLO Hartfield just yet. 1. I only met him a few days and 2. I know very little about him to draw a conclusion on his character. Well, I doubt he trusts me either, so I suppose the feeling is mutual. Lord CLO is a perfectly fine gentleman. He accepts me for who I am and cherishes me as his wife. However, judging from what Milady has to say about him, he doesn't sound like a bad person. It was plain from Milady's tone that she wasn't lying and her expression made it obvious that she was in love with him. As jealous as it makes me, I still find it a million times better than milady living with someone she finds unpleasant, so I can let it slide. Burnt, I'm happy that you adore me, but I assure you I can fulfill my duties without you sticking to me like glue. That won't do, milady. A butler is supposed to be ready to assist his master at any and all times, as it has always been since my days of serving you at House Valentine. I stayed close to milady, who apparently had some work to do outdoors. I walked one step behind her, ready to help at any moment. Milady absolutely cannot be burdened with any of the things she was forced to do when she first arrived here. Round the clock I should make sure to pick up any slack so nothing bothers her. You're not wrong, but well, never mind. I know I said it was work, but I'm only going to be taking a look around the barony. In other words, I'm only going to ascertain if anyone's in trouble or if anything needs resolving. Yes, milady, I understand. It is the duty of a lord to be aware of what goes on in their domain. That's right. It's good that you know. I tagged after milady, remembering my way around Shiki that I had mapped out in my mind. Frankly speaking, I think surveying a land and its residents is part of the duty of servants like Gray or me, or something we should hire a specialist for. But it's no mistake for a lord to do it themselves. I shall refrain from interfering with milady's work in any way. I shall protect her from any errant daggers or people. I'm sure it's not going to be easy in more ways than one, but I trust you to support me as best as you can. Nevertheless, milady's words were concerning. Come to think of it, milady mentioned that one needs to be flexible in order to adapt to life in Shiki. I wonder what that was all about. This barony is strange. I've been racking my brains to understand what had surpassed as I stood in the guest room allotted to me in the Hartfield mansion. My confusion was not about milady greeting the residents or taking a look around town. Nor was it about the fact that milady had made a friend around her age, which made me both discontent and happy at the same time. It was about the aforementioned resident/friend. What manner of creature is she? Hey, Sister Cyan. Has anything been troubling you lately? HM? Oh, Io. Hi. I can't say there is. Huh. I see. If there is, then don't hesitate to let me know. Gotcha. By the way, who's the guy with you? He was my attendant back in the Valentine mansion. We've been reunited after some time, and he's been helping me with my work. Oh, I'll come greet him later. Until then. Hi up. Sister Cyan climbed the church wall barehanded and proceeded to fix the roof tiles. She happens to be the only nun in this land, and a battle-type one at that. I've heard she teaches the kids the alphabet, keeps them entertained, and is also a friend of milady's. But what exactly is a battle-type nun? She'd apparently place in the top 3 among the residents, in regards to pure combat strength without any magic buffs. I would have expected that much from a battle-type nun. But seriously, what does it mean? That aside, I find it a little annoying that she scaled the church wall so effortlessly and neatly. I heard all about you. That you were Violet's battle knight. I am Apricot, the magnificent mage who rules over the dark and fleeting light. I welcome you into my brethren. Watch out, milady. It could be some new manner of mental attack. It's okay. She only means to say, I heard you were a servant of Violet's. I'm a mage who can expertly wield both dark and fire magic, and I also happen to be Gray's master. Nice to meet you. I see you're starting to understand me, Lady Violet. Apparently milady is good friends with the girl who spouts nonsense too. I rather wish milady would maintain her distance from nutjobs like Apricot, but she seems to be the best mage in this domain, and her destructive power is apparently so great that her name has gone down in the annals of the Academy's history. Moreover, she appears to be one of the top 3 cooks in Shiki, and her clothing are all supposedly handmade. As such, I hear there's a lot one could learn from her. But I'm still not altogether convinced. Plus, the residents only get weirder. Hee Violet. Could you pass these along to Cielo? It's his share. Sure. Thanks, Orchid. Your vegetables and mushrooms are really delicious. We appreciate you always giving us some. The very suspicious-looking dark mage was apparently one of the good Samaritans living here. Are you hurt? You're hurt, right? Rest assured. You're in good hands now that I'm here. In fact, I'll fix you up so well, you'll be as good as new. His treatment methods and the noises he makes are certainly something. He's so skilled at his job that it almost feels like his noises are some kind of rhythm he's working to. The doctor with questionable conduct and expressions seems to be among the top healers in the kingdom. Hey, the medicine prescribed to you should be running out or expiring soon. I had your prescription refilled. Oh, I appreciate it. Sorry, but I'll have to compensate you later. Also take this medicine. It helps you puke your guts out, and it helps you enjoy the prickling tingling sensation that comes after numbness. No thanks. Those just sound like poison. Upon Milady's refusal, the apothecary, poison-resistant, who swallowed said poisons, was also apparently quite skilled. Hello, that's a face I haven't seen around here. Oh, yeah, you are the one who was Violet's servant before she came here. Nice to meet. You call me robot. Here, take a Keneal. A welcome gift. Also, what exactly is that? Why is that strange life form strutting about the town like normal? It also appears to be on good terms with Milady, though I could never take a liking to its broken speech. Its mechanical and whirring sounds filled my heart with joy for some reason. It may very well be romanticism, but I felt like it had walked straight out of the storybooks I used to read as a child, and it filled me with strange admiration. There was no end to the weirdos. Someone who kisses the vegetables they pick up. A 7-year-old kid who looks like an adult. A gigantic man who loves exercising and muscles. A man, presumably in his 40s, with handmade bunny ears on his head. A woman who breathes heavily at the sight of knives. A man who could only talk about love, etc. There were still a lot of things Milady wasn't accustomed to. But I smiled, pleased that her world was expanding. She may have changed and lost some of her dignity as a noble, but seeing her smile only brings me joy. That said, I'm glad to see that the thing I like about her hasn't changed. It calls for a celebration all the more. In the few months I was separated from Milady, my yearning for her grew stronger with every passing day. I had steeled myself when I realized I wouldn't be able to see Milady for a while she attended the academy, but she had gotten married before I knew it, and I also had no knowledge of the location of her new home. Some months passed this way, and unable to get a fresh regular dose of Milady, I was suffering from a severe case of Milady deficiency. Ha ha! Hearing Milady's voice in person after so long. Ha ha! However, now it's different. Blessed with Milady's voice after an eternity, I now hold a magic tool. A sound source capable of temporarily holding a recording of Milady's voice. Even this little outing was very fruitful in that I was able to record various different sounds from Milady. Milady is a wonderful person. She has the kind of beauty that inspires respect rather than lust in me, someone of the opposite sex. Her academic, magic, and athletic abilities are leagues superior to the likes of me. Also, of no lesser importance by any means, the sounds that escape Milady's lips are more heavenly than anyone I've ever served could produce. Milady's voice, her heartbeat, the sound of her hair fluttering in the wind, the sound of the touch of her slender, pretty fingers. Any and all sounds of hers are absolutely breathtaking. This won't do. I need to control myself. Haven't I persevered since my days of serving Milady in the Duke's mansion? No, wait. Back then I was always by Milady's side, so I had a steady supply of her sound. Can I even hold back now that I've heard Milady's flux sound in such close quarters? No, I can't. Ha ha. Might as well just swallow. No, stop. Calm down. What's the use of holding the magic recording tool in my mouth? Wait, sound is made up of vibrations. By letting the vibrations oscillate through my body, I could feel and be healed by them from within, wouldn't I? I see, then it can't be helped. In that case, it wouldn't be too strange to down it in one gulp. Yeah, one gulp it is. My body listens to my demands and I attempt to swallow the recording device with Milady's voice in one breath. Oh, why? Why is it that the sound of Milady's heartbeat so bewitching? Please don't do it. What? I was interrupted by CLO Hartfield just as I was about to do the deed. He grasped my arm to stop me. This is strange. I ensured there was nobody else in the vicinity, so no other sound would mix into and contaminate Milady's. Nor did I feel anyone's presence. And yet, how did CLO Hartfield come to be here? Lord CLO, is something the matter? Don't give me that. What exactly were you trying to do with the magic tool that contains Lady Violet's voice? I was thinking of finding a place for Milady's voice in my body. I regret to inform you that's probably impossible. If I may clarify something, am I right in assuming that your affections for Lady Violet don't go beyond what's considered appropriate? CLO Hartfield looked at me with slightly weary eyes and a suspicious expression on his face. How rude. His suspicious gaze makes me look like a pervert. Well then, I should dispel him of any such delusions. My sister and I adore milady. All right. CLO Hartfield replied after a strange pause and listened to my side of the story. I told him about why my sister and I adore milady. I told him about how among all the nobility we had served, not many were actually noble in the true sense of the word. And though House Valentine was strict, it was never unreasonable. And how milady, as the daughter of the Duke, had spared no effort to be a worthy future queen. And how we had first treated milady as someone living on a plane far elevated from us mere mortals, until we witnessed milady crying in her room alone. And how that moment made us realize that we had been seeing milady through rose-tinted glasses. When we assured milady that she should feel free to tell us anything or even whine, milady had buried her face on my sister's chest and silently shed tears. That's when a thought crossed my mind. Ah, what a wonderful voice. It's just as I suspected. I wonder what exactly it is that he suspects. Continuing on, the moment I heard milady's cries, my needlessly sharp ears found the sounds escaping milady's lips wonderful. That is when my sister and I made up our minds. Starting then, we decided we would do everything to help milady, that we'd serve her to the best of our abilities, so she may be a regal and authoritative queen. When I realized that by doing so, I'd be able to enjoy her magnificent sound at any time, my world changed completely. I love the sound of milady's resolute voice the most. I love the sound of milady's rapid heartbeat and quick breathing that can be heard when she's sweating away training. I love the sound of warm sighs that escape milady's lips after a bath she takes at the end of a long day to refresh and to maintain her beauty. I love the sound of milady's pen scratching away at her paper during her sleepless nights of study, and her appreciative tone when I enter the room with refreshments. I love any and all manner of sounds that milady produces. I thank my lucky stars for this opportunity to be able to serve such an amazing lady. We have wondered why we love milady so wholeheartedly, but at some point we had found the answer. We love milady precisely because she's an aristocrat and a dignified one at that. And that is why I decided to serve my majestic lady. I'm second to none in my adoration for milady. Not even my sister. Maybe it's because they are twins, but they are both unhinged in different yet similar ways. Again, how rude. You're making my sister and I out to be some kind of perverts. Alternate title: innately abnormal brother. Amber Bulstrode height, around 160 centimeters. Hair color, burnt umber. Eye color, amber. Age, 24-year. Species, half-elf. Fetish: smells limited to body odors. Burnt Bulstrode height, around 170 centimeters. Hair color, burnt umber. Eye color, burnt umber. Age, 24-year. Species, half-elf. Fetish, body sounds, heartbeat, voice, and so on. Chapter 84: A Sojourn of Some Strange People. 6. Mr. Burnt and Miss Amber are siblings that are very good at their jobs. They can clean faster than us, and even their finish is beautiful. Even though we use the same ingredients, the food they make has a deeper flavor and is much more delicious. In addition, they do household chores as quietly as possible to not disturb us while we're working, and they do it flawlessly, with no unnecessary movements. That's fine. Their professionalism is a result of years of hard work serving others. It looks like Lady Violet trusts both Mr. Burnt, who's a man, and Miss Amber, who's a woman. Equally, and Gray also said that he wanted to learn how servants worked. That's all fine. But I want them to know this. I think it's safe to say that people who get excited by sounds and scents are perverts. Haha, you must be joking. In my room, where neither Lady Violet nor Gray were present, I explained what I had seen to Miss Burnt and Miss Amber, and they laughed out of courtesy, thinking that I, their master, was making a joke. But I'm sorry, I wasn't joking. I also have favorite smells and sounds. It's perverted, but I also like Lady Violet's fragrance and voice. But it doesn't arouse me sexually that much. At the very least, I don't try to bury my face in her worn clothes and sniff them, and I don't get heavily excited about the idea of putting them in my mouth. I don't get excited at the sound of her heartbeat and her bones rattling. Furthermore, I don't think about keeping recorded sounds inside my body. I'm not saying that being a pervert is bad. But what's bad is for the people in question to act in a perverted manner without realizing it and as a result, harm the person who's become the target of their aforementioned perversion. I would like to avoid letting Lady Violet get traumatized, but I feel like their interest is extending to grade 2, so I want them to have more self-awareness. I don't want my family to be hurt. We aren't even excited, right, brother? Yeah, exactly. We both love Milady's sound and fragrance, but there is no way it would excite us, Lord CLO. That's right. We would never lust for somebody as noble as Milady. We have inherited sharp senses from our half-elf blood. Brother has keen hearing, while I have an outstanding sense of smell. Other than that, we are not much different from humans, so our sharp senses have become more sensitive. That's why we end up reacting to good sounds and scents. Oh, I see. This is the reason why Mr. Burnt and Ms. Amber don't think that they're perverts. They think that they simply like sounds and scents and don't realize that they get aroused by them. I think this problem would have been solved in a second if I could use a video camera to show them how they acted in the moment, but there are no small machines that could record images in this world. Robot might have something similar though. I can imagine her having some incomprehensible functions. I see. Then please let me ask you a question. If you find it difficult to answer, you don't have to answer. Ms. Amber, if you think that this is sexual harass, unpleasant sexual behavior, you can refuse to answer. This is not an order. Yes, it's fine. I shall answer everything sincerely, without hiding anything. Even if it is temporary, you are our master Lord CLO. I am not going to say that I was improperly victimized. Their spirit is admirable, but if this had been a Japanese company in my previous life, that would have been an extremely dangerous statement. Pondering things like I started the confirmation process, in the form of asking questions. Impossible. Are you saying that I was aroused by Milady's voice and the sound coming from her body? Impossible. Are you saying that I was aroused by Milady's fragrance? After an hour of questioning, Mr. Burnt and Ms. Amber had their hands on the ground in a devastated pose and appeared to be shocked by their own actions. They didn't believe me at first, but perhaps thanks to having worked at Shiki for a while, when I compared them to the residents of Shiki and confirmed their actions and how they felt in the moment, they gradually became less talkative. They eventually finally realized how people around them would evaluate their actions. I feel a bit complicated that comparing them to the Shiki residents worked the most though. Ha! Brother, does this mean that we've been acting in a perverted manner towards Milady until now? Ha! No way, Amber. Milady was degraded and had her engagement with His Highness Vermilion broken because we did something disrespectful. No, that was because Lady Violet got jealous of that other girl and went on a rampage, so it had nothing to do with you guys. I can't believe our actions caused Milady's dignity to fall. In that case, there's only one thing we can do, Amber. Yes, brother. I understand. I have a bad feeling about this. Milady should be the one to judge us, at least. Yes, let's confess everything and be executed. Please wait. Mr. Burnt and Ms. Amber tried to run towards Lady Violet as soon as they made up their minds, so I grabbed the back collar of their butler and made uniforms that they had apparently brought themselves and stopped them. If I didn't stop them, they'd probably really go to talk with her. And if they didn't get executed, they might really end up cutting their stomachs themselves. Please let us go, Lord CLO. At least when I die, I want to meet my end while surrounded by Milady's noble scent. That's right. I want Milady's noble voice to be the last one I hear. I want to meet my end while surrounded by Milady's heartbeat. So please let me go. Ah, but brother, won't Milady give off a different scent while looking down on us? You're right. I want to hear Milady's voice as she completely scorns us. Hey, why are you guys secretly trying to fulfill your own desires? Or rather, I'm not going to let Lady Violet do that kind of thing. If servants who've served you for many years were to die while aroused by your voice and smell until the very end, you might end up traumatized for the rest of your life. To start with, if perverted conduct was enough to get you executed, most of Shiki residents would be goners. True. I can't believe they were actually convinced. But I did say it because I thought it was true, so I'm glad I was able to stop their rampage. For now I have to make them calm down, not deny their love for scents and sounds, and explain that while some people might call them perverts, I don't want them to deny what they love. Besides, if you guys get executed, You won't be able to fulfill your purpose of protecting and transporting me, Lady Violet and Grey. Mr. Burnt and Miss Amber froze up at my words. Chapter 85, A Sojourn of Some Strange People _7. At first I thought that it was just a vacation. I thought that since they loved Lady Violet so much and were worried about the rumors, I thought they wanted to be by her side even if they had to use up their rest days. Next, I thought that they were observing us. I thought that perhaps they would observe us in those few days and decide whether they would take Lady Violet away or come to Shiki to work for us depending on the circumstances. In the end it turned out that I was right on both accounts. But apart from that, I also found out that they had received an order from the Valentine family. Lady Violet doesn't know this yet, but they have been put in charge of guarding and transporting us for our next scheduled trip to the capital, or more concretely, to the Azalea Academy School Festival. That's right. I must fulfill my duty for Milady's sake. If we do anything wrong at this time of the year, Milady will be forcibly taken away. If this was just an invitation sent to somebody related to the academy, they would have sent a word to the Valentine family or my parental house to not come. But since this is a royal invitation, functionally an imperial edict, they can't ignore it either. Rather, not going would look worse. Since they found out about Lady Violet's whereabouts through rumors, they probably wanted to make up a purpose and make it easier for other watchdogs to have a grasp of her actions, rather than antagonize her by acting out. If that happens, my duties will be lifted, my actions will be restricted, and I will never be able to smell Milady's fragrance, so I have to endure it. If we don't look for a better timing, her reputation might be damaged. I don't want to hear an anxious sound from Milady. Well, Valentine family probably couldn't even imagine that they had those kinds of fetishes, and loved Lady Violet enough that they would contemplate taking her away. Lord Cielo, it's okay now, so can you please let us go? After they regained their composure at my words, I let go of their collars. I'm glad they didn't go crazy in a weird way. For the time being I need both of them to control their emotions. By the way, Lord Cielo, are you wearing some kind of perfume? After I let them go and they turned to face me again, I was worried about what to start talking about, when Miss Amber asked me with a questioning look on her face. No, not really. Do I smell weird by chance? My apologies. That is not the case. I just smelled a strangely good smell when you grabbed me just now. Is that so? I smell good? I don't get told that much about this, but unfortunately I don't use perfume. I sometimes wear a light fragrance in social situations, but it's too expensive to use on a daily basis and I'm not a big fan of it either. I've just finished working outside, so I had expected that Miss Amber, who has a keen sense of smell, would hate it instead. I don't know what to think about this. I have a bad feeling, as if something that I know is impossible is going to happen. Lord Cielo, may I ask you a question? Yes, go ahead. Then Mr. Burnt also asked a question, as if Miss Amber's question had also made him question something, or as if he had realized something. Lord Cielo, you usually use honorifics not only with us but also with Milady, but that is not the case with everybody, correct? Well, yes. I don't use honorifics with people like Grey and Cyan. In other words, you talk with them with the same voice and tone as the "hey now" you said a moment ago? Embarrassingly enough, you would be right. I see. You have a nice voice, Lord Cielo. Well, thank you very much. Where did this come from so suddenly? Really, where are they going with this? I have a really bad premonition. I feel like I'm in the kind of danger where I have to get away from them right this instant. I feel a great need to tell them that they're misunderstanding something. Despite my bad premonition, Mr. Burnt and Miss Amber made eye contact for some reason and had a silent conversation, after which they nodded to each other and turned towards me. Lord Cielo, may I suggest something? Whether I accept or not depends on the suggestion itself, but please go ahead. We love Milady. This is a fact unrelated to her scent or sound. This is something I want you to understand very well. Yes. After seeing that situation, I'm not sure if I can agree without hesitation, but I do understand that. Sounds and scents might have been a part of the reason why they were so enthusiastic to serve Valentine family, but they continued to support Lady Violet so she could become the mother of the nation, due to their strong feelings of admiration towards her, rather than a sense of duty or leaving things to a chance, and Lady Violet came to trust them as well. However, it is also true that we like scents and sounds. We have come to a realization with your words, Lord CLO, but if we keep suppressing our desires while interacting with Milady, we will surely lose control one day. More specifically, I will bury my face in Milady's body to listen to the sounds inside her through my whole body, and my sister will continue to hug Milady and take deep breaths. Okay. Yeah, that would be a problem. Mr. Burnt is completely out of question, and while Ms. Amber might be a girl, that would be dangerous in various ways. And if this did happen, Lady Violet would most likely start to feel afraid of interacting with others. Therefore, we had an idea. In order to stop ourselves from running out of control, we should replenish our deficits every now and then in small quantities. Replenish in small quantities? Yes. By the way, Lord CLO, I was so distracted by Milady's fragrance that I didn't notice it, but you also smell good. Just like Milady in gray. Pardon. And you also have a nice voice. Just like Milady in gray. I see, so this is what they're implying. You want to use gray and me to split the objects of your desires. Is that what you are trying to say? Yes. You are absolutely right. Don't you? Yes, you're absolutely right, me. You freaks. Have their desires become more pronounced as a result of them becoming self-aware? If that's what happens, is it my fault? Won't your desires only grow if the number of targets increases? Just like opium. No, it's important to replenish, no matter how small. It's something like water to us. We don't need a surplus. I see. If an action window appeared right now, it would probably be fight, run away. Persuade. If it was Miss Creamhild, who's the heroine of Ring of Fire, her choices might have been, is your head okay? Alright, come on. If you beat me in a fight, I'll fulfill your wish. The correct answer in this case is probably the third one. Alright, why don't I use her as an example? If you beat her, me in a fight, I will fulfill your wish. If I win, you will ask the residents of Shiki to work together with you and find a way to help you endure your urges, and until I decide that your problem has been solved, I will not let you get close to Lady Violet in gray. By the way, the same will happen if you refuse combat. What if we win? I will provide you with my voice and scent in any situation you like. Other than that, I will make sure that you can work in the same room as Lady Violet in gray during your stay, and I will let you stay as close to us as possible during escorting missions. Please refrain from touching anyone other than me as much as possible though. Let's do it. We are trained to protect Milady. We will not go easy on you. Alright, it was the right choice. As expected from Miss Creamhild, in my mind. If I imagine what kind of choice she would make, things seem to go pretty well. I kind of feel like this is just my imagination, but I must be imagining it. Then there was a knock on the door, and when I replied that it was okay to come in, Lady Violet entered the room. I'm sorry, Lord CLO. I can't seem to find Burnt and Amber. Oh, you guys were here? Burnt, Amber, it's almost time for dinner. But nobody seems to have prepared anything. Should we do the preparations? My deepest apologies, Milady. Right now we have to participate in a battle that we cannot afford to lose. We will prepare dinner after that. Amber. Milady, I won't lose. I cannot afford to lose in order to protect my dignity. Burnt? What's going on, Lord CLO? Something seems strange. Lady Violet. I won't lose. I will win this battle for the sake of our family. Lord CLO?